get ready, because today we're diving into something pretty wild. AI-generated human animation.
Yeah, we're talking about computers creating videos of people so real you'd never guess they weren't filmed.
It's mind-blowing, right? We've come a long way from those simple cartoons.
Oh, absolutely. And the crazy part is the tech we're looking at can do all this with just one image.
And some motion cues, things like audio or video.
It's like magic, almost. So the source for this deep dive, it's a really cool article from InfoQ. OmniHuman 1, Advancing AI-Generated Human Animation, just published February 20th.
Fresh off the press.
2025. And it introduces us to, well, the star of the show, OmniHuman 1. This AI model is causing quite a stir.
What's fascinating about OmniHuman 1 is how it gets this realism, this lifelike quality. It's a two-pronged approach, a unique training method combined with a powerful core architecture.
Okay, break that down for me. What makes the training so special? Imagine training for a triathlon, right? You wouldn't just run, you'd swim, bike. You need diverse skills. Well, OmniHuman 1 is trained in a similar way. It's called mixed conditioning. It learns from all sorts of beta text, images, audio, even human poses.
So it's like cross-training for AI, makes it super adaptable.
Exactly. Now, add to that its core architecture built on a diffusion transformer.
DIT, for sure.
Yeah, DIT. Think of it like the conductor of an orchestra. It takes all those inputs, the text, images, sounds, poses, and orchestrates them, blends them.
To produce a seamless, realistic animation, I'm starting to see the picture. But let's get practical. How does OmniHuman 1 actually compare to what's already out there?
Well, the research is impressive. The article talks about how they tested it against established models. Using benchmark datasets like CelebVHQ and RaviD, these datasets are packed with examples of human faces and voices.
So it's like a competition, an AI animator face-off.
You could say that. And OmniHuman 1 consistently outscored the others in key areas.
Like what? Give me the highlights.
Well, for instance, image quality. And something called lip sync accuracy.
Oh, that's crucial. You know, when the mouth movements don't match the words, it's so jarring.
Totally breaks the illusion. Yeah. So scoring high there means OmniHuman 1 is creating truly lifelike animations.
It's not just about avoiding that robotic movement we've seen in the past, then.
No, it's about smoothness, fluidity, even with limited input, like just an audio clip.
Wow. I can already imagine virtual assistants that can actually have a natural conversation with facial expressions, gestures, everything.
Oh, absolutely. That's just one potential application. Imagine virtual meetings with lifelike avatars.
It could transform remote work, make it feel so much more personal.
Right. But there's more. The article highlighted OmniHuman 1's versatility.
Yeah, it can handle different image aspect ratios, right?
Exactly. Portraits, half-body shots, even full-body images.
So from a virtual news anchor to a video game character, it can do it all.
The flexibility is incredible. Opens up a world of possibilities for developers, for creators.
And this is where it gets really interesting. The article hinted at applications beyond just entertainment.
Think about healthcare, education, areas where this tech could make a real difference.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Imagine interacting with a virtual tutor or therapist who looks and moves just like a real person. That could personalize education, make mental health care more accessible worldwide.
Now that's using technology for good. But let's be realistic, there are potential downsides too. Like, with this level of realism, what about misuse, deepfakes, and all that?
You've hit a crucial point. The article quotes Matt Rosenthal, CEO of MindCore. He stresses the need to balance this AI innovation with careful consideration, ethical boundaries. He poses a question, a thought-provoking one. What do you think? Game changer or potential risk?
That's a big question, and it's one we'll be exploring further as we continue this deep dive. But before we get into that, I'm curious, what are your initial thoughts? Game changer or potential risk?
It's a tough one. No easy answers there. On one hand, the potential benefits are huge, but yeah, we got to think about the downsides too.
Feels like we're in uncharted territory. Reality and simulation, that line is getting blurry. So let's talk downsides. Where do you see the biggest risks?
I'd say misuse is a big one. As this tech gets more sophisticated, more accessible, well, it could be used to make incredibly convincing deepfakes, but for malicious purposes.
Like what? Give me an example.
Spreading disinformation, manipulating public opinion, even impersonating someone.
Oh, that's scary. A fake video of a politician saying something inflammatory, it could cause chaos.
Exactly. And the problem is, as these models advance, it gets harder to tell real from fake.
So what can we do? Tech solutions, regulations, ethical guidelines, all of the above.
Probably a mix of everything. Researchers are already working on deepfake detection tools. But we need open conversations about the ethics too, you know?
We can't just rely on tech to fix everything. We need to be involved, set boundaries.
Absolutely. And that means educating the public, helping people be more discerning about what they see online.
Media literacy for the AI age. We need to be critical thinkers, not just take everything at face value.
Right. But hey, let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about the positive applications.
Yes, please. After all that deepfake talk, I need some optimism.
Well, think about virtual tutors. Personalized instruction for students anywhere in the world, no matter their location, their background. That's powerful.
World-class education, accessible to everyone. That's the dream.
In healthcare, too, virtual therapists available 24/7, breaking down barriers to mental health support.
It's about access, but also quality. Imagine a virtual therapist that can analyze your facial expressions.
Your tone of voice, pick up on those subtle cues.
To provide even more personalized care, that's taking the human element to the next level.
And then there's entertainment. Movies, video games, virtual reality, everything changes.
Imagine interacting with characters that feel completely real. It's like stepping into another world.
Yeah, like blurring the lines between fiction and reality.
And speaking of blurring lines, the article mentioned real-time performance improvements.
They're working on that for OmniHuman 1. That would be huge.
What kind of impact are we talking about?
Well, it means truly natural interactions. Think video calls where your virtual self mirrors you perfectly, or VR experiences that feel totally lifelike.
That level of immersion would be amazing. But it makes me wonder, what about the psychological impact? If these virtual experiences get so real, how will that affect our sense of reality?
Now, that's a fascinating question. It brings up all sorts of philosophical, ethical things, our relationship with technology, the nature of reality. It's a lot to unpack.
And it's a conversation we need to have now while this technology is still developing.
Right. We can't just focus on the tech itself. We need to think about the bigger picture.
The societal impact, the psychological effects. So for our listener feeling a little overwhelmed maybe, what's the one key takeaway you want them to remember?
I'd say this. We're at a turning point. AI is changing everything rapidly. And it's up to all of us to be informed, to be engaged, to be proactive in shaping how it develops, how it's used.
That's a powerful message. We're not just observers. We have a role to play in this. But before we wrap up, I want to circle back to something you said earlier. The potential for OmniHuman 1 to democratize access to education, healthcare, these essential things. Yeah, it's easy to get lost in the wow factor, but at the end of the day, it's about helping people.
Absolutely. Let's take education. Imagine a student, maybe in a remote area, no access to good teachers. With OmniHuman 1, they could have a virtual tutor, personalized, available anytime.
Like having a world-class education, no matter where you live.
Right, and it could adapt to their learning style, give feedback, even offer support, like a real teacher.
And in healthcare.
Same idea.
Yeah.
Virtual therapists powered by this tech, it could be huge for mental health support. People facing barriers like stigma, cost, maybe they can't find a specialist. This changes things.
Breaks down those barriers, makes essential services available to everyone.
And not just access, but quality too. Imagine a virtual therapist that can analyze your expressions
Your tone of voice, picking up on all those subtle cues.
to provide even more personalized care. It's like enhancing human interaction with AI.
Wow. We've talked about education, healthcare, but what about entertainment?
Oh, this could revolutionize how we experience movies, games, VR.
Imagine characters that feel as real as the people around you.
It's like that line between fiction and reality just fades away.
So, with all this potential, how do we ensure it's used responsibly? What can developers do, policymakers, even us, everyday people?
It's going to take all of us working together.
Yeah.
Developers need to think about ethics, build in safeguards. Policymakers need to create regulations that prevent misuse, but also encourage innovation. And we need to be informed to demand transparency, accountability from the people developing this technology.
So it's not just about the tech itself, it's about how we use it, the values we embed in it.
Yeah, it's about shaping a future where AI helps us, empowers us, doesn't diminish what makes us human.
That's a great point. As we wrap up our deep dive into OmniHuman 1, I'm feeling a mix of awe and, I guess, cautious optimism. This technology is incredibly powerful. It could change the world as we know it.
It's both exciting and a little bit scary, no doubt.
Yeah.
But I truly believe we have the power to shape how AI develops.
Which brings us back to that question from Matt Rosenthal. Game changer or potential risk? We've explored both sides, and honestly, there's no simple answer.
It's probably going to be a bit of both, right?
Yeah.
But that's what makes this conversation so important, so fascinating.
Absolutely. So for everyone listening, we'll leave you with this final thought. As AI keeps evolving, what role will you play in shaping its impact? How will you help write the future?
Stay curious, stay informed, stay engaged.